Hey, what's up? Thank you for joining Simba's Lounge. Thank you for coming in. Today, the topic is going to be hot. It got to do with Sean Diddy Combs, Puffy Combs, Dr. Love, all the aliases that he named. There has been an indictment, or he has been indicted, and he has been taken into custody, if you haven't already heard. So, here we're going to go ahead and go through these 14 pages. Bear with me. I never gone through an indictment, and it's just been on my mind. So everybody else is talking about it. So instead of just hearing about it, I definitely wanted to read about it. So join me, stay if you will. Let's go ahead and get into this 14-page document. Give me 1 second, so we go ahead and bring this on up. Let's see. Yeah, let's see what we got. All right, for count one. That's going to be racketeering conspiracy. For decades, Sean Combs, aka Puff Daddy, aka P. Diddy, aka Diddy, aka PD, aka Love, the defendant abused, threatened, and coerced women and others around him to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. To do so, Combs relied on the employees, resources, and influence of the multifaceted business empire that he led and controlled, creating a criminal enterprise whose members and associates engaged in and attempted to engage in, among other crimes, sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. All right, so look, we know or we've heard um, of these rumors when it comes to Diddy and the type of person or individual he actually is. And for quite some time, oh man, back in 2000, 2001, um, I mean, yeah, more than likely even before then, rumors were already surfacing about the type of person he was, what he does, what he get involved with. And obviously there's been some truth to it. I'm not shocked that this came out, but I mean, what do you think? Let's go ahead. Let's get back into it real quick. Number two, Sean Combs, aka Puff Daddy, aka P. Diddy, aka Diddy, aka PD, aka Love, the defendant operated his business headquartered at various times in Manhattan and Los Angeles under a variety of United States based corporate entities, including Bad Boy Entertainment, Combs Enterprises, and Combs Global. Collectively, the Combs business. Corporate entities in the Combs business included, among other things, record labels as recording studio and apparel line and alcoholic spirit businesses and marketing agency, and a television network and media company. For a while, I'm not even gonna lie, with all these different business names, for a minute, back then we thought it was kind of funny, or at least I did, him always coming up with these different names. It became a joke for the most part. I mean, it was one of those things, okay, what is he changing his name to now? But now it makes sense. He was those were different businesses. I'm pretty sure he was hiding and washing and laundering, and yeah, he had this set up like a mob, basically. Number three, at all times relevant to his indictment, Sean Combs, aka Puff Daddy, aka P. Diddy, aka Diddy, aka PD, aka Love, the defendant engaged in a persistent and pervasive pattern of abuse toward women and other individuals. This abuse was at times verbal, emotional, physical, and sexual. As part of his pattern of abuse, Combs manipulated women to participate in highly orchestrated performances of sexual activity with male commercial sex workers. At times, Combs and others acting at his direction made arrangements for women and commercial sex workers to fly to Combs' location. Combs ensued participation from the women by, among other things, obtaining and distributing narcotics to them, controlling their careers, leveraging his financial support, and threatening to cut off the same, and using his intimidation and violence. And this is wild. This is wild. When you feel like you are above and you just want to take advantage of people because you know you have that power, the connection, or, you put them in a position to where you can then use it later on against them. That's some manipulative, demonic, evil. Yeah, it's just all of the above. It's crazy. Number 4, physical abuse by Sean Combs, aka Puff Daddy, aka P Diddy, aka Diddy, aka PD, aka Love. The defendant was current and widely known on numerous occasions from at least an hour about 2009, continuing for years. Combs assaulted women by, among other things, striking, punching, dragging, throwing objects at, and kicking them. These assaults were at times witnessed by others and included one incident at a Los Angeles hotel in about March 2016, which was captured on video and later publicly reported, where Combs kicked, dragged, and threw a vase at a woman as she was attempting to leave. When a number of the hotel security staff intervened, Combs attempted to bribe the staff member to ensure silence. Man, when I tell you this right here, this is wild. It's been rumored, of course, he did the same things to Kim Porter, allegedly. It's one of those things to where he ended up breaking her jaw and sent her to another country. And he sent her to another country, this is what's alleged, so she can at least heal. Kim Porter, unfortunately, was his punching bag as well. I'm not for sure why Diddy is so angry and where this all stemmed from. Like, I'm really curious on exactly what happened. What made him turn this way? Was it because of the power that he began to have, especially when he was, beside Biggie? And he just was able to see the type of things he can get when it comes to, him being a celebrity and knowing folks and having all the money. And he knew that he can control. Yeah, that's something right there. And also too, even during making the band, if you can recall, when he did making the band, those contestants on there that were competing to be in a rap group, they were in high school. Not all of them, but some of them were in high school. So he had them walk miles late at night to try to go get a cake to a store, from a store that probably wasn't even open. I can't remember, it's been so long ago. But the torture and verbal abuse that he did put them through, it's crazy. It's crazy. And I believe all of it. And he thrived off of it. The control that he had. Definitely, if you haven't seen it, just go back, watch some clips. Aubrey from, Danity Kane, shout out to her. She been, yeah, shout out to her. She's been, staying true to her word, saying it's coming, but folks didn't want to believe her. All right, let's go. Combs' violence was also not limited to these women. It extended to his employees, witnesses, to his abuse, and others. That's wild. I'm sorry. I can't. No. You're not gonna put your hands on me. I don't know. Nope. Number 5, Sean Combs, aka Puff Daddy, aka P Diddy, aka Diddy, aka PD, aka Love. The defendant used the Combs business, including certain employees, to carry out, facilitate, and cover up his abuse and commercial sex. Those employees, including security staff, household staff, personal assistants, and high-ranking supervisors, and other close associates, acted as Combs' Lord, this word done got me, y'all. Intermediaries. And their conduct was facilitated and assisted by Combs' control of the Combs business. This is wild. And them doing all this investigation and the rating, they're not just going to come with some stuff that's going to be hard from. Obviously, they got proof from their raid that they did with the video evidence. They got proof. All right. This is dealing with the indictment towards the Combs enterprise from at least in or about 2008 through on or about the date of the filing of this indictment, Sean Combs, aka Puff Daddy, aka P. Diddy, aka Diddy, aka PD, aka Love, the defendant and others, known and unknown, were members and associates of criminal organizations, the Combs Enterprise or the Enterprise. Members and associates of the Combs Enterprise engaged in and attempted to engage in, among other activities, sex trafficking, forced labor, interstate transportation for purposes of prostitution, coercion, and enticement to engage in prostitution, narcotic offenses, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. Baby. When you got almost 2 decades worth of all of this stuff going on, when you got 2 decades worth, when you got 2 decades worth of this stuff going on, bruh, I don't. Yeah, it's not looking good. It's not looking good. Sean Diddy level boy. Let's get back to this. The Combs Enterprise, including its leadership, its members, and its associates, constituted an enterprise as defined by Title 18 United States Code Section 1961, or that is a group of individuals associated, in fact, although not a legal entity. The Combs Enterprise consisted of Sean Combs, aka Puff Daddy, aka P. Diddy, aka Diddy, aka PD, aka Love, the defendant, entities within the Combs business, including but not limited to Bad Boy Entertainment, Combs Enterprises, and Combs Global. Individuals employed by and associated with the Combs business, and others known and unknown. All I can say is, once the ish hit the fan, man, names are going to be flying. I know he going to be, singing like a canary. I know he going to let some names go. So, if you dealt with him in any manner in which this indictment is speaking of, just know they coming for you. They coming for you. I don't know when, but they have the video. And that's the crazy thing. He did things to where he'll put you in a position knowing that position is very, it's not going to be looked at well. So he'll use that and record it without you knowing, so he could then later bribe you and pretty much have you at his beck and call. Man, that's wild. They better watch out. Whoever it is, whoever his friends are, y'all gonna have to watch out. They coming for you. Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? All right, let's go. Let's see. The Combs Enterprise constituted an ongoing organization whose members functioned as a continuing unit for a common purpose of achieving the objectives of the Combs Enterprise. The Combs Enterprise was engaged in, and its activities affected interstate and foreign commerce. The Combs Enterprise operated in the Southern District of New York and elsewhere. At all times relevant to this indictment, Sean Combs, aka Puff Daddy, aka P. Diddy, aka Diddy, aka PD, aka Love, the defendant, was the leader of the Combs Enterprise. Sean Combs, aka Puff Daddy, aka P. Diddy, aka Diddy, aka PD, aka Love, Lord, all that, Jesus. The defendant and others, known and unknown, participated in unlawful and other activities related to the conduct of the Combs Enterprises affairs. These individuals included certain Combs business employees, such as members of Combs security staff, household staff, personal assistants, and high ranking supervisors, as well as other close associates of Combs. Man. Purposes of the Combs enterprise. The purposes of the Combs enterprise, including the following: operating a global business in the media, entertainment, and lifestyle industries, including, among other things, record labels, a recording studio, an apparel line, an alcoholic spirits business and marketing agency, and a television network and media company. Preserving, protecting, promoting, and enhancing the power, reputation, and brand of Sean Combs, aka Puff Daddy, aka P. Diddy, aka Diddy, aka PD, aka Love, the defendant as a musician, entrepreneur, and figure in the entertainment industry. Enriching members and associates of the enterprise, including its leader, Combs, and in particular those who demonstrated loyalty to Combs and willingness to conceal his crimes. Preserving, protecting, promoting, and enhancing the power of the Combs enterprises, including the power of its leaders, Combs, through violence, use of firearms, threats of violence, coercion, and verbal, emotional, physical, and sexual abuse. Fulfilling the personal desires of Combs, particularly those related to the Combs' sexual gratification, including through the exploitation of women and the use of commercial sex workers. This is wild, like, bruh. Yeah, you definitely in deep. Like, what made you want to do all of this? Enabling Combs and other members and associates of the Combs enterprise to engage in unlawful acts of violence, including sexual behavior, violence, sex trafficking, forced labor, and estate transportation for purposes of prostitution, coercion, and enticement to engage in prostitution, narcotic distribution, and other crimes, and concealing the commission of such acts. Securing absolute loyalty from members of the Combs enterprise, including through acts of violence and threats, and protecting the Combs enterprise and its members and associates, including Combs, from detection and prosecution by law enforcement authorities through acts of intimidation, manipulation, bribery, threats of retaliation against the individuals who witnessed the crimes committed by members and associates of the enterprise. Means and methods of the enterprise, pretty much same thing. Among the means and methods by which Sean Combs, aka Puff Daddy, aka P. Diddy, aka Diddy, aka PD, aka Love, the defendant, and other members and associates of the Combs enterprise conducted and participated in the conduct of affairs of the Combs enterprise, including the following. And this is pretty much okay, yeah. So this is where more information is about to come about. Let's see. 1 second. So Combs and other members and associates of the Combs enterprise wielded the power and prestige of Combs' role at the Combs business to intimidate, threaten, and lure female victims into into Combs' orbit. Often under the pretense of a romantic relationship, Combs then used threats of force and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended sex acts with male commercial sex workers that Combs referred to as, among other things, freak-offs. Freak-offs were elaborated and produced sex performances that Combs directed, masturbated during, and often electronically recorded. Wow. Man. So he would hire this entertainment basically and conduct these freak offs where he just pretty much he was the master puppeteer. He was able to create an environment that he had full and absolute control over by all means. Man, this is wild. let's see where we left. In arranging these freak offs, Combs, with the assistance of of members and associates of the Combs enterprise, transported and caused to be transported commercial sex workers across state lines and internationally. Freak offs occurred regularly, sometimes lasting multiple days, and often involved multiple commercial sex workers. During freak offs, Combs distributed a variety of controlled substances to victims. Let me repeat that word over again because it definitely, I don't know, the tongue was stuck to the roof of my mouth. A variety of controlled substances to victims, in part to keep the victims obedient and compliant. Sometimes, unbeknownst to the victims, Combs kept videos he filmed of victims engaging in sex acts with commercial sex workers. After freak offs, Combs and the victims typically received IV fluids to recover from the physical exertion and drug use. What? Now this is crazy. Now that's crazy. Yeah, this is just crazy. This is crazy. This is wild to read. Um to know that him and the other individuals will have to at times get IVs because they were so drained because of the physical exertion and drug use. There could have possibly been overdoses. I'm pretty sure there could have been some overdoses in those residents or wherever they were. But he had the means, and I wonder if there were some medical staff that were actually in on this too. I wonder if, he had contacts with some people in the medical field to actually attend those and be there just in case something were to happen. Try to revive them. I'm pretty sure of it because if you need IV fluids right after, that's some yeah, yeah. This man wanted to create his own world of control. Man, members and associates of the Combs enterprise, including high-ranking supervisor, security staff, household staff, personal assistant, and other Combs business employees facilitated the freak offs by, among other things, booking hotel rooms for the freak offs, stocking the hotel rooms in advance with the required freak off supplies, including controlled substances, baby oil, lubricant, extra linens, and lighting, cleaning the hotel rooms after the freak offs to try to mitigate room damage, arranging for travel for victims, commercial sex workers, and Combs to and from freak offs, resupplying Combs with requested supplies, delivering large sums of cash to the Combs to pay the commercial sex workers, and scheduling the delivery of IV fluids. In or about March 2024, during searches of Combs residencies in Miami, Florida, and Los Angeles, California, law enforcement seized various freak-off supplies, including narcotics and more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant. And that's a lot going on. That's a lot of stroking going. That's a lot of stroking going on. Shannon Sharp, he'll probably be in there talking about that's my Michelle. Lord forgive me. I'm sorry. I'm just joking. Combs subjected victims to physical, emotional, and verbal abuse to cause the victims to engage in freak offs. Combs maintained control over his victims through, among other things, physical violence, promises of career opportunities, granting and threatening to withhold financial support, and by other coercive means, including tracking their whereabouts, dictating the victim's appearance, monitoring their medical records, controlling their housing, and supplying them with controlled substances. So you're willing. Now that's crazy to me. Now this is crazy to me. So you're willing to have the people you manipulate into this situation, become addicted to the drugs or the supplies. You knowing this, you purposely feed their addiction as long as they're able to assist you with your predatory behavior. That's wild. That is crazy. You're taking someone's weakness and you're using it against them and slowly killing them, all so you can get off. Combs also threatened victims' careers and livelihoods, including if they resisted participating in freak-offs. Victims believed they could not refuse Combs' demands without risking their financial or job security, or without repercussion in the form of physical or emotional abuse. Combs also used the sensitive, embarrassing, and incriminating recordings that he made during freak-offs as collateral to ensure the continued obedience and silence of the victims. Members and associates of the Combs enterprise, including Combs security personnel, at times carried firearms. On more than one occasion, Combs himself carried or brandished firearms to intimidate, threaten others, including victims of and witnesses to his abuse. In or about March 2024, during searches of Combs' residence in Miami, Florida, and Los Angeles, California, law enforcement seized firearms and ammunition, including three AR-15s, defaced serial numbers, as well as drum magazine. Members and associates of the Combs enterprise enabled Combs' control over victims by following his direction regarding financial payments to victims, advancing or suppressing the victim's career opportunities, and acquiring the controlled substances Combs used to keep the victim compliant. Members and associates of the Combs enterprise at times witnessed Combs' violence towards the victims or the victims' injuries caused by Combs without intervening. Instead, members and associates of the Combs enterprise helped conceal the violence and abuse by, among other things, assisting Combs in monitoring and preventing victims from leaving locations such as hotels or Combs residences. These occasions including instances in which a victim was required to remain in hiding. Remain in hiding, sometimes for several days at a time, to recover from injuries Combs inflicted without being publicly observed. Members and associates of the Combs enterprise also assisted Combs in locating and contacting victims who attempted to flee his abuse. This is wild. This is definitely wild. Your staff is in on it. Like, were they in on it willingly or unwillingly? That's pretty much the question. All right. When employees witness to this abuse or others threaten Combs' authority or reputation, Combs and members and associates of the enterprise engaged in acts of violence, threats of financial, reputational harm, and verbal abuse. These acts of violence included kidnapping and arson. In addition, on multiple occasions, Combs threw both objects and people, as well as hit, dragged, choked, and shoved others. This is a lot. Like, come on now. You gotta do better than this. Our people, we gotta hold our folks accountable. We can't just allow something like this to continue. We knew that it was happening. Yeah. Ooh, this is a lot. Hold on, let's see something real quick. reputation was threatened by the possibility of negative publicity or legal or law enforcement action against him, including in or about late 2023 following public allegations of Combs' crimes. Combs and members and associates of the enterprise pressured witnesses and victims, including through attempted bribery, to stay silent and not report what they experienced or knew, or excuse me, what, let me do that one more time. My word, my word. Jesus. Let's start back here at G. All right. So when Combs' authority or reputation was threatened by the possibility of negative publicity or legal or law enforcement action against him, including in or about late 2023 following public allegations of Combs' crimes, Combs and members and associates of the enterprise pressured witnesses and victims, including through attempted bribery, to stay silent and not report what they experienced or knew to law enforcement. On phone calls, Combs and other members and associates of the enterprise, among other things, provided these victims and witnesses with the false narrative of events in an effort to conceal Combs' crimes. Combs caused these calls to be recorded on at least 2 occasions. Wow. All right, here we go with the racketeering conspiracy. From at least in or about 2008 through on or about the date of the filing of this indictment in the Southern District of New York and elsewhere, Sean Combs, aka Puff Daddy, aka P. Diddy, aka Diddy, aka PD, aka Love, the defendant and others known and unknown, being persons employed by and associated with the Combs enterprise, described in paragraphs 6 through 12 of this indictment, and an enterprise engaged in and the activities of which affected interstate and foreign commerce, knowingly combined, conspired, confederated, and agreed together with each other to violate the racketeering laws of the United States, to wit, Title 18, United States Code, Section 1962, that is, to conduct and participate directly and indirectly in the conduct of affairs of the Combs enterprise through a pattern of racketeering activity, and that term is defined in Title 18, United States Code, Sections 1961 and 1961. Is that bylaw 5? Well, I know I've been saying that all wrong, but all right. Consisting of multiple acts involving kidnapping, chargeable under the following provisions of state law: California Penal Code 207, which is kidnapping; California Penal Code 21, 664 is attempt; the California Penal Code 31, aiding and abetting; and California Penal Code 182, which is conspiracy. Multiple acts involving arson, chargeable under the following provisions of state law: California Penal Code 451, arson; California Penal Code 21, a 664 attempt; California Penal Code 31, aiding and abetting; and California Penal Code 182, conspiracy. Multiple acts involving bribery, chargeable under the following provisions of state law: California Penal Code 137. Let's see. So it continues that. All right. So we're going to get to H. Multiple offenses involving the possession with intent to distribute or... Actually, hold on. Let's go back to that because I want to read all of it for everybody. So the multiple acts indictable under the Title 18 United States Code, Section 1512, relating to tampering with a witness, victim, or an informant. Wow. Yeah, you can't do that, bruh. You can't do all that. What are you doing? Multiple acts indictable under Title 18 United States Code, Section 1589, and 2, relating to forced labor. Multiple acts indictable under Title 18 United States Code, Sections 1591 and 2, relating to sex trafficking. Multiple acts indictable under Title 18 United States Code, Sections 2421, 2422, and 2, relating to transportation and inducement to travel for purposes of prostitution and other illegal sexual activities. And multiple offenses involving the possession with intent to distribute or distribution of narcotics and controlled substances, including cocaine, oxycodone, what's that? Alprazolam, Zalum, 3, 4. Is that methylended? Y'all can see. All of that, all of this acid, ketamine. God, yeah, they was up in there. They was zooted. Let's just say, yeah, let's just say they was up in there zooted and booted. They were gone. Beam me up, Scotty. I'm flying high. Yeah, they were up there on the reading rainbow. All of that stuff going on. My God. All right, so y'all can go back and read that part. Don't feel like going through that. It was part of the conspiracy that Sean Combs, aka Puff Daddy, aka P. Diddy, aka P. Diddy, aka P. D, aka Love, the defendant agreed that a conspirator would commit at least 2 acts of racketeering activity in the conduct of the affairs of the Combs enterprise. So what we have here, notice of special sentencing factor. From at least in or about 2009 up to and including in or about 2018 in the Southern District of New York and elsewhere as part of his agreement to conduct and participate in the conduct of the affairs of the Combs enterprise through a pattern of racketeering activities, Sean Combs, aka Puff Daddy, aka P. Diddy, aka Diddy, aka P. D, aka Love, the defendant agreed to, in and affecting interstate and foreign commerce, knowingly recruit, entice, harbor, transport, provide, obtain, advertise, maintain, patronize, and solicit by any means a person knowing and in reckless disregard of the fact that means of force, threats of force, fraud, and coercion, and described in Title 18 United States Code, Section 1591 C2, and any combination of such means, would be used to cause the person to engage in commercial sex act in violation of Title 18 United States Code, Section 1591A1 and B1. Title 18 United States Code, Section 1962, parentheses D. That's a lot. Yeah, no, that's definitely a lot. Thank you for sticking with me thus far. We're almost finished with this, so definitely drop your comments. I hope you're dropping some of your opinions and what you think. I know these words been kicking my ass. I don't know why, but it has. They have been. No judgment, amen. But yeah, if you have any comments or any opinions on exactly what you heard or what's going on, drop them below. Let me know what's going on. So we're almost done. Thank you for sticking with me. Let's continue this. Count 2, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion. Victim 1. The grand jury further charges from at least in or about 2009 up to and including in or about 2018 in the Southern District of New York and elsewhere, Sean Combs, aka Puff Daddy, aka P. Diddy, aka Diddy, aka P. D, aka Love, the defendant, in and affecting interstate and foreign commerce, knowingly recruited, enticed, harbored, transported, provided, obtained, advertised, maintained, patronized, and solicited by any means a person knowing and in reckless disregard of the fact that means of force, threats of force, fraud, and coercion, and described in Title 18 United States Code 1591 E2, and any combination of such means would be used to cause the person to engage in commercial sex act and attempted, aided, and abetted and willfully caused the same to wit Combs recruited, enticed, harbored, transported, and maintained a person, victim 1, and attempted, aided, and abetted and willfully cause victim 1 to engage in commercial sex acts knowing and in reckless disregard of the fact that victim 1 was engaging in commercial sex acts as a result of force, fraud, and coercion. Title 18, United States Code, Section 1591A1, B1, 1594A, and 2. Man, what they say was done in the dark will always come to the light. This is definitely coming to the light. Let's go. Count 3. The grand jury further charges from at least in or about 2009 up to and including in or about 2024 in the Southern District of New York and elsewhere Sean Combs, aka Puff Daddy, aka P. Diddy, aka Diddy, aka PD, aka Love, the defendant knowingly transported an individual in interstate and foreign commerce with intent that the individual engage in prostitution and attempted, aided, and abetted willfully caused the same to wit Combs transported, aided, and abetted, and willfully caused the same to wit Combs transported, aided, and abetted, and willfully caused transportation of female victims and commercial sex workers in interstate and foreign commerce on multiple occasions with the intent that they engage in prostitution. Bruh. What's this? Forfeiture allegations. As a result of committing the offense alleged in count 1 of this indictment, Sean Combs, aka Puff Daddy, aka P. Diddy, aka Diddy, aka PD, aka Love, the defendant shall forfeit to the United States pursuant to Title 18, United States Code, Section 1963, and any all interest to, excuse me, the defendant acquired or maintained in violation of Title 18, United States Code, Section 1962. Any and all interest in securities of claims against and property or contractual rights of any kind affording a source of influence over the enterprise named and described herein, which the defendant established, operated, controlled, conducted, and participated in the conduct of in violation of Title 18, United States Code, Section 1962, and any and all property constituting and derived from proceeds obtained directly and indirectly said offense, including but not limited to a sum of money in United States currency representing the amount of proceeds traceable to the commission of said offense. So pretty much as a result, committing of offense alleged in count 2 of the indictment, Sean Combs, aka Puff Daddy, aka P. Diddy, aka Diddy, aka PD, aka Love, the defendant shall forfeit to United States pursuant to Title 18, United States Code, Section 1594, and any and all property, real and personnel involved in, used, or intended to be used to commit or to facilitate the commission of said offense and really where were it? Said offense and any and all property traceable to such property, any and all property, real and personnel, constituting or derived from proceeds obtained directly or indirectly as a result of said offense, including but not limited to some of the money in the United States currency representing the amount of property involved in said offense and proceeds traceable to the commission of said offense. As a result of committing the offense alleged in the count 3 of this indictment, Sean Combs, aka Puff Daddy, aka P. Diddy, aka Diddy, aka PD, aka Love, the defendant shall forfeit to the United States pursuant to Title 18, United States Code, Section 2428, and any and all property, real and personnel constituting or derived from proceeds obtained directly or indirectly as a result of said offense, and any and all property, real or personnel that was used or intended to be used to commit or facilitate the commission of said offense. In the Title 18 United States Code, Section 98A1C, and Title 28 United States Code Section 2461, any and all property, real and personnel that constitutes or is derived or is derived from proceeds traceable to the commission of said offense, including but not limited to some of the money in the United States currency representing the amount of proceeds traceable to the commission of said offense. All right, here we go. Substitute assets provision. If any of the above described forfeitable property as a result of any act or omission of the defendant, A, cannot be located upon the exercise of due diligence, has been transferred or sold to or deposited with a third person, has been placed beyond the jurisdiction of the court, has been substantially diminished in value, or has been commingled with other property which cannot be subdivided without difficulty. It is the intent of the United States pursuant to Title 18 United States Code Section 1963M, Title 21 United States Code Section 853P, and Title 28 United States Code Section 2461C to seek forfeiture of any property of the defendant up to the value of the above forfeitable property. Man. Yeah, so you thought you were going to get away with a lot of this stuff, and it's not happening. It's not happening. And they coming for you, or they already got you, and they coming for everything else. So anyone who's associated or who was associated with him doing these crazy acts, not thinking what will happen, thinking that a lot of this stuff will stay private, I'm sorry to tell you, it's not. If they haven't come knocking at your door, if you haven't gotten that call, email, and or snail mail, it's coming. Trust me, not coming in the way that y'all were during those little free calls. But yeah, this other stuff, this ish, is hitting the fan, and it's coming your way. But definitely let me know what y'all think. I mean, there's a lot to this. There's a lot to definitely unpack. I just wanted to get up here and just, share with you all who didn't feel like reading it or, wouldn't mind just hearing it. So just got up here and wanted to, let you all see what was going on or hear what was going on within this indictment. So if you have any opinions on what you think is about to happen, what you think should happen, do you think he will actually, when trial comes, do you think he will be granted house arrest and at least get out of jail? Or is this it? Is he going to get a chance to be a free man because he was denied bond because he was a flight risk? So what do you think? How do you think this will all turn out? I do feel bad for the kids, his twins and the younger one. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot, I'm sure. But I mean, it's been a long time coming. We already knew. But yeah, definitely I'll try to get back up here to update if I have any other updates. Anything else happen, I'm sure it will be. But yeah, definitely tune in. And if you haven't already, please like, share, comment, or subscribe. Do any of that. Help your brother out. Trying to get more subscribers, trying to do a little something. So help me out. See y'all till next time. Peace.